So it has been a day and a couple hours since the free agent market officially did open. So today in this video, I'm going to be talking about four separate teams and talking about how their so far individual signings and trades are looking, and I'll be giving an overall grade to each of these four teams on how I think they've done, in my opinion, in this free agent market. So let's get right into it quickly with the first team, and that is actually going to be the Seattle Kraken. I went with a B as their grade this free agency. So let's go through so far what signings that they have done. Their first signing is Alexander Wenberg. It is a 3-year, $13.5 million contract with an annual cap hit of 4.5. I don't really like this deal if you were to ask me, just because I do think it's an overpayment. Wenberg just had a really good season, but if we look at his seasons before that, he did not have that good of a career before that. So I think to jump off and just bring him up such a higher cap hit just because of one good season is too early to tell, especially with a 3-year deal. So I actually don't really like this deal, but I do think that it is possible it does work out if Wenberg plays the same way he did this past season. But moving on, we are now going to be talking about Jaden Schwartz. So he signed a 5-year, $27.5 million contract with a 5.5 annual cap hit. So this deal is a tad bit of an overpayment, in my opinion. I would have rather seen Jaden Schwartz maybe at like $5.2 million. It's not much of an overpayment, but in my opinion, it is a slight tad one. We know that the Kraken had a huge weakness in terms of offense and scoring ability after their expansion draft, but Schwartz is a guy that actually helps with that. So in a way, I actually do really like this signing, and I do think it fits their needs and what they need to really improve and possibly make the playoffs next year. We will see. But for the third and final signing that the Kraken did make is they did sign Philip Grubauer to a 6-year, $35.4 million contract with a $5.9 million annual cap hit. I actually really like this contract, except there's one thing which I'll get to, and that is actually that Chris Krieger is already what I thought was going to be their starter, but now they went out and signed Grubauer, so I'm assuming the plan is that they are going to run Grubauer as a starter. I'm just confused on why exactly they would have Drieger and Grubauer, because I think those guys both are starter material goaltenders, so why have both of them? I don't know, but in terms of looking at it contract wise, $5.9 million in my opinion is really strong. I was expecting Grubauer to get more of like 6.5 to $7 million range, and they got him at 5.9 at 6 years. It's a really good contract. Just wondering what's gonna happen for the goaltending situation in the upcoming season. Moving on though, we are going to be talking about the Boston Bruins now. So I actually gave the Bruins A in terms of their grade. So I actually really liked everything they did. So let's get right into it. They made a lot of moves. The first move that they made is they acquired Nick Foligno. They signed him to a 2-year, $7.6 million contract, 3.8 million AAV. I do like this contract. Nick Foligno, he's a veteran. He's a leader on and off the ice. He will drop the gloves for you guys. He's a great player. He still produces points. He can score goals in that bottom six role. He can play left wing, center, and right wing. He's so versatile and can help you out in so many ways. Beautiful signing. I like the deal. You could say that 3.8 might be a tad bit of an overpayment, though. It could be. We'll keep an eye on that in this upcoming season, and we'll see. But next, we do have Eric Holla. They signed him to a 2-year, $4.75 million contract, 2.375 AAV. I like this contract as well. As of what I've learned on Holla, he's a third line centerman who can take faceoffs for you and also put up a decent amount of point production. Pretty simple signing to change up that bottom six. But next up we have Thomas Nosek. So we do know that obviously the Bruins lost Sean Corrali to the Columbus Blue Jackets. So I think Nosek is a pretty good replacement. 2 years, $3.5 million in the total contract and 1.75 AAV. Nice and cheap, bottom six guy. Nothing much to say on that. Just a quick, easy replacement. Can do decent for you job down there on that fourth line. Moving on though, we have Derek Forbort at a 3-year, $9 million contract. $3 million AAV. So out of all these signings that the Bruins made, this is the one that I actually did not like. Forbort at $3 million as the annual cap hit. I personally don't like that contract. I think it is way too much of an overpayment. I would rather have Forbort at maybe a 1.7 AAV, 1.6. He got $3 million, so obviously, in my opinion, that is a huge overpayment. But that's not to say he's a bad defenseman at all. He's a really good defenseman, just not worth that money in my opinion. Next up, though, we actually have a signing that I really enjoyed. They signed Linus Ullmark, goaltender, to a 4-year, $20 million contract at a $5 million annual cap hit. I really, really enjoy this contract. This could be pointing towards signs of having a Swayman-Ullmark tandem and having Rask retire possibly. We'll have to wait and see. I like the money, though, and I like how it fits in terms of the Bruins' needs. Maybe Rask was asking for too much. We'll see what happens there. And for the one trade they made, they traded Dan Vladar to the Calgary Flames in exchange for a 3rd-round pick. So I like this deal a lot, in my opinion. It was good. And plus, we already know that they have Swayman as their tandem option with whoever their goaltender, which looks like to be Ullmark this coming season. So that's their tandem. Vladar is just an extra guy that you don't need. Get a good 3rd-round pick from Calgary out of it, and there you go. But next up, we have the Edmonton Oilers, however, and I actually gave them a D+ as their current grade. I hated their free agency, and let's get into it and why. Their first signing was Tyson Barrie to a 3-year, $13.5 million contract, 4.5 AAV. This is horrible. We know Tyson Barrie puts up a lot of points, but he literally cannot play defense when it comes to defense, and in his own end, he is a literal pylon. So yeah, I hate that signing. Way too much money, too much term. They shouldn't have brought him back. Moving on, we have Cody Ceci, who is 4 years, $13 million total, and 3.25 AAV, and he's the exact same thing as Tyson Barrie, but worse. He's another pylon, but worse offense. It's just worse overall, and they signed him 4 years instead this time. Another horrible contract. Moving on, we have Zach Hyman. This one, you think it's going to be good because Zach Hyman, and Zach Hyman is a guy that the Edmonton Oilers could really benefit in. A top 6 left winger that's gritty and fights for you, and he's a warrior to play alongside of a guy like Connor McDavid. But then you find out that the total contract is 7 years, $38.5 million, and a $5.5 million annual cap hit. That's horrible term, horrible money. Or the money's good, but how long is that money gonna actually be good though? 2-3 years, and then he's not worth that money. We know Zach Hyman is 29 as of right now. He gets all that money until he's 36 years of age, and he's a guy that, since he plays that warrior play style, he has a lot of injuries. He's not going to sustain at a healthy state for long, so I don't like that signing. And then for the final signing, they have Derek Ryan, who signs 2 years, $2.5 million, 1.25 AAV. Now, this signing isn't bad. We know that the Edmonton Oilers do lack a lot of secondary scoring in their bottom 6. Derek Ryan is a guy that can fill that role, and I think I really like the term and the money. So that is a good signing right there. I like that signing. Then they take another L, in my opinion, because they go ahead and make a trade acquiring Warren Foegele from the Carolina Hurricanes in exchange for Ethan Bear going back to Carolina. I don't like this deal. I don't think it's a terrible L, but it is an L in my opinion. I think the Hurricanes got the better value because, in my opinion, Ethan Bear is just better than Warren Foegele, and it was straight up 1-for-1. So, yeah, that pretty much sums up my D+ grade on the Oilers. But moving on, we have a pretty short and quick one, and that is the LA Kings. They have I gave them, a A- as their grade, because I actually pretty like their free agency. I actually liked it pretty well. So let's get into their signings. They made 2 signings. Their first one is Phillip Danault, signed 6 years, $33 million at 5.5 AAV. Now, in my opinion, Phillip Danault at 5.5 is a little bit of an overpayment. I actually had him making somewhere around 4.5 if someone can negotiate well. He got 5.5. It's fine. I guess I would have rather seen maybe like 5 at the max, but they went 5.5. He's still a really good player though, because he's really underrated defensively. He has great defensive. I'm pretty sure he was voted 6 overall in the Selke votings this past season. He's just a great defensive player, and he still puts up a decent 30 points for you. So great overall player. Moving on, we have Alex Edler though. They actually signed him to a 1-year deal at $3.5 million. This deal is a little bit of an overpayment. In my opinion, Edler is a really good offensive defenseman. His defensive stats are something to argue, though. So I don't know if I really like $3.5 million. Maybe you can bring it down to 3. Also, considering that his age is really old, but one thing you have to think of is they have a really young core, and Alex Edler is, again, very old. He's a veteran and a leader on and off the ice that can hopefully grow and develop these young guys into better people and better players overall. So it's not a bad signing. Maybe we could just bring down the cap hit, though. The term's great. Just maybe bring it down to like 3.2. It's too late now, though. So I give them an A-, and I seriously think the LA Kings can contend in the playoffs next year. But that's it for this video, boys. Let me know all your thoughts down below on what teams you think did really good and what teams you think did really bad. Let me know all your thoughts down below on my grades. Which ones would you change? And any thoughts on all these signings and free agency. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.